All right, Jay, we are back here at Snetterton, right? We're at Snetterton this week.
Yes. The
I
amount of complaining I heard about Snetterton this week was yeah. I don't think this was a very popular track.
I I think it's been an unpopular season, but it's been an exciting season. I think this has been one of the closest and most action-packed seasons we've had so far. So complain as they will about the track lineup, it has made for some good racing, and we will hopefully see that continue into today. We're now past the halfway point of the season. This is now race 5 of 8, so we are on the finishing stretch here. So some things of note here. Jesse took pole. He is the pole position. Torres second, and Cerna great qualifying all the way up in third place.
Yeah, let's hope that the consistency issues that Cerna's been experiencing this season are uh, are a bit better. It would be nice to see Cerna finish up toward the top, but
Hmm.
it's just one of those things. All the speed in the world doesn't matter if you can't keep her on track. So
Yeah, and he had a good, pretty good race last week, I think, as far as not experiencing the typical issues of um, having an incident and finishing, towards the back. So yeah, hopefully he can replicate that again this week, like you said, and take advantage of that third place qualifying position. He's definitely gonna have his hands full with having Moda and Jon Snow behind him. That's for sure. I don't envy him for that at all.
yeah, that was kind of interesting to me to see Moda, Snow, and Perez that far back in the starting order here. I wonder if it's just not being familiar with the track, or maybe not enough practice, or who knows what the deal is. But yeah, that was definitely interesting.
It was pretty competitive with qualifying. I mean, Jesse dipped into the 146s with the 146.9, so I think part of it was just some of these guys had some really good standout qualifying laps that shook up the starting order.
I mean, that's so far ahead of anything I could do here. I mean, I think I'd probably be in the 48s or 49s. I
Yeah.
mean, I am just, you know, uh, for lack of a better word, just sort of dog shit around here.
Hey, you don't tell
It's a
me.
fun
I
track. It's a fun
qualified.
track. I love the track, but
Yeah.
when it comes to driving the track, oh boy.
So this is another one of the tracks that I find it very difficult to pass on. Pretty tight racing. There's a few opportunities, but a lot of the track you're it's pretty narrow. Doesn't allow for a whole lot of side by side.
It seems like the widest parts on this track are the corners themselves. Um,
Not wrong.
a lot of a lot of mid corner passing opportunities, but I mean, most of the straights or I shouldn't say straights. The two main straights here, one is massive and one is, average, and all the other straight sections of the track just seem to be so skinny that it's so hard to get anything done. But yeah, it's a track that definitely rewards bravery, I guess you would call it. I mean, um, it really requires a lot of trust. A lot of trust.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for him to get formed up here, the and for the race to start, for the championship standings right now, as it stated, Jon Snow out 102 points in first. Second, Ken North and Miguel Torres both tied with 70 points. So again, we're gonna have to see how things shake out because only 7 of the 8 races will count. Your worst week will get dropped. So this is all subject to everything kind of going, but very, very close. And then so fourth and fifth also close. Kumar and Pedro and Tillman and Jesse all in the 50s with points. So there's some close racing for the championship.
Yeah, that's what we
And
like to see.
yes, sir. All right, getting formed up. Pedro's back a little bit behind Moda. Maybe just wants to make sure to give that space. Doesn't want to get caught up in any lap one incidents. So everybody
Looks like Ken
nice and
got a really good start
close.
there, but John
Sure
John looked like
did.
he was a
And
little hesitant on
oh,
the throttle.
so
Oh,
we've already got a lap one incident here. Let's go back and just kind of see. So it looks like um, Albert's in the inside, goes wide, goes to the outside, but then tries to come back inside again and makes
was that
contact
a
with
was that a
Torres.
comeback inside? That actually looked like the back of that car was sideways.
That could have been it too. Let's see if we can. Yeah, he shifts sideways there. It might still be sideways there. That's a good point. It might have been loss of.
Yeah, that kind of looks like
We
he
can
was
try to ride on board with him. Let's see if we can.
absolutely sideways.
I don't know how good we're gonna get of a thing. Oh, we're on board with Torres. Yeah. Let's go to Albert. We'll try it one more time. One more time.
It'll be pretty telling to see if he's on the wheel. Yeah, just a little deep into that
Definitely
corner right
counter
there.
steering there, and some counter steering there. I think you're right. I think he was breaking traction. Probably cold tires and a
Yeah.
lot trying to keep it on there for lap one. So that's unfortunate. He had such a great qualifying. We've seen it before where it's so tough with that lap one and the close traffic and getting
Well, I
through a
mean, and
lot.
the NSX's
Try
tendency
and
to try to
kill,
murder you at every chance.
murder.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and let's see here. So Cerna and Moda very close.
It looks like Luna and Blythe right behind Miller.
And Torres, I think we just had him get by. Yeah, I'll go back. He's already trying to make up position. So Blythe, or no, that's Macedo and Tillman. And he's able to get inside there. Good job giving space. Both of the drivers. And gonna go outside. Great job by those two giving each other space through those turns.
Yeah, Jesse was not going to let that go.
Mm-mm. That was that Jesse or
Yeah, that was Jesse.
I always forget who has the lighter of the two.
I do
Jesse
believe
the
Jesse's
lighter.
white. Yeah.
Okay. You think I'd have this down by race 5, but obviously not. Still
You
gets me.
know.
So he's already on the move. Torres coming back, which oh,
Ooh, Ken getting a little
Ken
loose there.
breaks loose.
Oh, speaking of getting loose, whoa.
Yeah.
Torres back there just about.
I think sorry, we had another pass. We have so Luna going inside of Miller here. And that's actually one of the decent passing opportunities where you're down on the that kind of back straight,
Yeah.
the fast left, and then through the little chicane there. So sorry. Who were we at before? I'm just trying to.
So Torres looked like he just about ate a big old shit sandwich coming around that wide right-hander just before the last corner. He got a little loose there. Oh, Ken
Oh,
just
he
I think
did.
Ken just got spooked a bit there by David and just missed
I
his braking zone.
think that's exactly what it was. He did not want to have to see that position to David, I think, and was trying to make sure he was on the brake slightly later, but it took him into to
Ouch.
Pedro, and that was a multi-car too. That went to Pedro into Jon Snow, and a little bit more rubbing there as Ken looks to have gone off and came back on. Hopefully they're able to get sorted out here.
Oh, I
So,
think that was the commentator's curse. I just think we just saw Cerna off in the grass there.
oh, that was absolutely Cerno. What happened here? He was no contact. This might have been NSX, or yeah, went off the track, and
I mean, luckily he didn't touch anything.
yeah,
That's rough. I mean, I feel for Max. I've
very.
I've been I've been there, driving a car that is just not
So I think,
does not like you.
ooh,
Oh,
we have had some action packed here. Looks like White Cell and Taylor were close. There was some
oh,
touching,
it looks like John
and
was trying to go up the inside of Scott there and just ran out of track.
good job getting on the brakes, I tell you. And Cerna now on the inside of Doherty. So Cerna dropped back, but he's trying to go ahead and make up some positions. And Doherty's able to stay in front, but behind that we had Miller. Looks like he went
Yeah,
into Blythe.
that right there was the classic accordion. Somebody
Yeah,
was slow through the corner, and then it just caused.
there was definitely some congestion there. And it looks like he'd be able to stop. Oh, yeah, you know what? He kind of gooses it. I don't think he realizes everyone's slowing up there, and I think it's
Yeah,
that little press of the throttle that prevented him from being able to get stopped. But looks like that didn't cause too much of an issue for everyone, for him or for Blythe, so that is good. Oh, and he loose gets
oh, Scott.
sideways,
Oh,
sideways
Scott.
there, and
Oh,
Kingo. Oh, and Cerna comes back on and makes contact with Marlowe. Marlowe and Luna side by side here. Luna's going to be able to get in front, it looks like.
yeah, that could have been so much worse, though. So much worse. I mean, it's never good to see contact coming back on the track, but that was.
And this is a lot to try to keep up with here. It's been a pretty exciting. So Tillman now making the move on Macedo. He's going to get up along the inside. They
Oh.
touch. It's one of the opportunistic passing zones there.
Yeah,
It's very.
it's a real dangerous place. I mean, you really gotta you really gotta be confident on the brakes. Oh,
Oh yeah, David trying to make sure control himself
oh.
not to go in to
Yeah,
Tillman there, and he was able to keep it.
that was about as
That let
boxed in as you could be there. That
and
was that.
that also let Jesse get around North there behind because North had to adjust.
Yeah, that's about as boxed in as you can be going around that corner. That had to be a white knuckle nail biter there for David. The way that car was squirming.
And Marlowe, misses
Oh yeah,
the
just
braking there. He goes off, and Blythe almost kind of follows him off there. So that's gonna let Stefan Buckley gain a couple positions, which he will gladly take.
I was about to say, looks like he lost that braking zone. I hope he finds it.
Mhm. And Driveman on the inside of Miller. So he's able to get by Miller. And let's look through. So Torres all the way back up in third place behind Pedro. So it didn't take him too long to regain the ground he lost, which is impressive because, like I said, I don't think it's an easy track to get by people at. Um, Albert right on the back of Macedo, followed by North.
God's got to be
Taylor
sweating
with Jon
bullets right now.
Snow in tow.
He's got to be sweating.
I'm sure. With Jesse here as he is trying to close in on David Macedo. And Jesse way late on the brakes. Thankfully, good move. Swerves out of the way. Avoids Macedo. And it's going to get him behind Whitesell. And Jon Snow made it past Scott Taylor. So he's trying to work his way back up after he was involved in that multi-car incident that took that went Ken North into Pedro and then Pedro into Jon Snow. Yeah, and Torres on the back of Pedro.
If we're going to see Blythe in an epic
Oh!
battle. Oh,
Marlowe.
yeah.
I don't know what happened. It doesn't look like he was avoiding, but let's see. I don't know if he just got off from the right side of the track. Let's right on board. Try to figure out what happened. Just braking, I guess, while it was still kind of turning. The back sort of came out on him.
Yeah, it looks like perhaps just a little bit too much rear brake bias on that car there.
That's what it looks like. I'll have to agree with you. Let's see. We'll look back. Escobar currently running 21st. He's just over a half second behind Miller. One of the close races we have out there. Darty, who is on the back of Scott Taylor, is one of the close ones. And then the one I guess we'll stick with here, Torres on Pedro, who looks like he made the move on Pedro. Does Pedro just go off a little too much?
Yeah, he got really loose going through that corner.
Good car control with Torres there. He kept it tight just in case Pedro was on the outside of him. Yeah, so that's going to move Torres back up into second place. So what looked like a disastrous start, he's already recovered from. Excellent job. He is definitely could be a threat to win this. We'll have to see. 5 seconds behind Moda, so a lot of ground to cover, but he was able to recover this much so early in the race. We'll have to really watch that split to see how this develops.
Yeah, and it looked like Pedro's kind of reeling him in there. but looks like he might be falling back a little bit.
And so Jon Snow also wanting to recover. He was fast here. But there, as you can see in front of him, there is a lot of people he's going to have to get through if he's going to be able to finish on the podium. Close here with Cerna, Onkenko, and Buckley.
Oh, Buckley putting the moves on the outside there. Looks like Onkenko kind of managed to get back in front.
Yeah, and you're right. Pedro is not falling back from Torres, still right on him. So Torres might not be in the clear. He might still have Pedro to deal with.
Well, it's always easier to follow than it is to lead, so I can imagine Pedro's picking up some pointers here.
Through, so we'll see Ken North on the back of David Macedo's one of the close ones. Jesse Albert on the back of Whitesell, another close one out here. Doherty on the back of Taylor. And Stefan Buckley, who we were riding with earlier, right on the back of Umkenko. And Luna on the back of Blythe. Marlowe on the back of Driveman. So we've got a lot of close racing. Let's see. Oh, there's an incident as we were with Tillman. You can see up in the distance, is that Pedro? Let's ride on board with Pedro. He goes inside to try to make a move.
So I'm not sure if that was a move. I think he might have just blown past his braking marker and decided to make a move out of it. That's pretty far back for a move.
Yeah, it looked. We're going back to the heli cam here, so yeah, I guess
I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one, but that's it's a bit far back for a move.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. If let's go back one more time. Yeah. See if we'll ride on board with Pedro. So he's on here. Yeah, he's definitely late on the brakes. I mean, he was 100%. So I think that's exactly what it was. Missed the braking point and then was just gonna jump inside, which obviously you always want to try to go out to avoid the contact, but I think he was hoping he might be able to dive in and then have Torres just cut underneath of him. But
well, if it
luckily,
wasn't for those kids in that pesky curb, you might have been able to do it.
Yeah. Thankfully, Torres looks okay. That is good. And Marlowe all over the back of Driveman. Oh, all over the back, literally now in the back of Driveman. So he waits for him. Looks like he's trying to... Yeah, I think he was trying to let Driveman go, but then, yeah, here he goes. He's letting Driveman through, doing the respectful thing.
Well, you know, when a BMW really loves a Lexus. And then 9 months later, there's a baby. Yeah, it looks like due to that incident, Pedro's got David
Man,
Mosquito all over his back bumper now.
yeah, I can't keep up with everything happening. We've had quite a few passes. Um, so now we have Escobar on the back of Miller. And I know they had some incidents between the two of them a couple weeks back. It looks like Escobar's trying to make sure pay extra mind to give space and not
I
be
mean,
too
it's
overly
never a bad
aggressive.
idea. Oh,
And
Evan, oh, Evan, Evan, oh,
yeah,
no.
and so the patience pays off. There's the opportunity, and Escobar's able to get through.
Oh, that's rough for Evan.
That is. Doherty's still in the back of Taylor. He has not been able to gain any ground. It looks like they've stayed pretty close. Oh! And in the back there, we saw Harris Beckman lose control.
Oh, and then there in the foreground, we
There.
might
Ooh.
just about lose it.
Oh, and
Oh,
I don't know what happened with
so that looks like on the brakes, the Ferrari just starts to rotate like the Beamer.
that was exactly who do we see that happen to? We had
That
just
was
saw that.
Marlowe, I think.
I think I think it was. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Marlowe. And oh, there goes Harris
That was
Beckman also
Beckman
going
again.
off there a little bit.
You have to hire him on as a groundskeeper
Yeah.
if he's going like this.
So Torres 10 seconds back of Moda. Part of that was maybe that incident there where he got caught up with Pedro. So he doesn't look like he's gaining any ground on Moda, but maybe he hasn't really had a chance to settle in and start trying to yet.
And we also got to take into consideration that he might actually have a bit of aero damage from that as well. So
Very, very possible.
that's, I mean, unfortunate if that's what happened, but it looks like David Macedo dropped back quite a few places. He was right behind Pedro. Now he's in ninth.
Yeah, I think I might have missed whatever had happened to him.
I'm sure David
Let me
appreciates
go. Yeah, well, no, you're
that.
not making it off that lucky. Let's see. Let's go back. So you get back here. Albert and him. Oh, Albert checks all, touches off, and then this David just. You think they were like sharing a brain? They both kind of have the car step out on them, different places on the track, but within seconds, and that's what put them to drop back. Now they're really close. Albert getting in front.
Well, I'm sure John's happy. That's one less person he's got to try to get past, and
This is true.
David's not the easiest.
No. Yeah, keep watching. So Snow. Man, Jesse made it to the back of Snow, so I don't know if John is suffering damage. That's or if he's getting held up, if he suffered damage, or if he's getting held up by White Cell. But well, then again, Jesse too is really fast here. I mean, he qualified pole, so it's not unthinkable to see him pushing on the back of Jon Snow either. We'll have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I half expect that NSX to just take a walk in the middle of that corner as soon as you get light on the throttle. That's a pretty typical NSX thing to do. But I guess let's watch for that, see if that actually happens.
And John showing his nose. Yeah, he's up alongside enough. He gets by White Cell. I know Jesse would love to follow John through. Oh, White Cell managed to hold off on the outside, though. He's going to be back in front here, and he's going to be able to hold it. So he does not give up the position. Great driving from White Cell.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I know John likes to run some pretty aggressive TC, and that's going to hurt him, especially in a drag race like that coming out of the corner.
And Jesse smartly pulls back behind John, knowing he wouldn't have a chance at a move there.
Oh, he was definitely waiting for John to forge a path. He was right behind him, waiting for him to get past.
You know what? Something happened to Tillman. Because Tillman... Yeah. Tillman was running third, and we just saw him behind Pedro. So, just NSX doing NSX things. Clipped the inside, unsettled the car. Yeah, unsettled the car, and that caused him to drop back. Unfortunate, because he was having a good race there, all the way up in third place.
Yeah, it's almost like that car doesn't have springs in the back. It's like literally wooden table legs.
Is that what the Ferrari's like too? I've heard that's
I mean, it
similar.
is now. It never used to be,
Yeah.
but yeah, it feels like the wheels are just connected to the back of the NSX. Just, I mean, as a child, I used to have remote-controlled cars and used to replace all the springs with nuts. And that's just kind of what it feels like. The back of that car is just solid.
I don't know what happened with Taylor here. It looked like he let Luna and Blythe through. Is Taylor, I guess, dealing with damage from when he hit the wall and went off? That has to be it. It must just, he's dealing with damage at this point, trying to probably wait till he gets to the pits. So he is playing damage control right now. Looks like he's out there trying to keep the car on the track, but tough to maintain his position.
And it looks like John's playing a little bit of please don't pass me.
Yeah.
Trying to get past White Cell here.
This is the worst position to be in when you need to attack, but you have someone ready to pounce on you at the same time, because you have to try to be defensive and offensive, which, they're contradicting things, right?
A nifty little strategy that I've used a couple times is literally just let the more aggressive driver go. They're gonna make a move, and whether that be take the guy in front of you out or get past, just follow him through.
Oh, and John's gonna pit. I was wondering what happened there because it looked like John was gonna get by. There was White Cell. Looks like he loses it a little bit right here. Goes wide, and you think John's gonna go. This happened to be the one point where John wants to pit, so he's in his way. And John had to hit the brakes. And the best part here is if you watch this from, let's see, Jesse's point of view. Jesse's like, "What the hell are you doing, man?" Because you
Yeah, isn't that
watch
just
him
how
get
it
caught
works
up
out,
behind
though?
John. This is funny timing here because you can see here goes Jesse. All right, let's go. Let's pass him. What the hell?
Yeah, isn't it great how that works out?
Yeah. All right, but no incident. John made it into the pits. These guys are still out. So we are at the 20-minute mark. Pits just open. John jumped in. I'm going to have to guess John's dealing with some damage or was going for the undercut.
Yeah, and it's
Because
hard to tell what's going to work here, the undercut or the overcut. I mean, with the amount of people that were tied up in incidents, if they all pit to fix damage, I mean, really, it's anyone's race because there were quite a few. I mean, I guess it's not anyone's. Alex is pretty free and clear at the moment. I don't think he was involved in anything. So,
no,
barring
no.
barring a major misfortune, I think at this point it looks like Alex has got it pretty well locked down.
Yeah, I don't see Torres losing any ground to him, but I also don't see Torres gaining. He's been at the 10-second mark, I think, since the last time we checked and looked at him. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't see that. Doesn't look like he has any extra pace above Moda that he's going to be able to climb back.
If anything, that car looks like it is just super twitchy.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that's just the way he's got it set up or if that's aero damage, but can literally just see that car yawing back and forth. John came out 18th from that pit stop.
Yeah, he was the first person to pit, I believe. So, go back to these four since I think this is the closest battle we have on track of multiple cars.
Whitestall's running a pretty good race.
He has.
I think he ran a pretty good one last week too.
I cannot remember exactly where he finished last one, but I think you're right as well. All I remember last week was he had the one where he was dealing with lap traffic and went off the track, but managed to avoid that incident where he split those two cars. I think he was stuck behind. Was it Marlowe and Blythe? I think were battling at the end. Was it Moore? Not Marlowe. I think it was Moore.
Yeah, it was more.
Yeah, Moore and Blythe at the end.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but I mean, nobody got deleted, so that was.
No, yeah, and he didn't really lose anything from it either. The next car was back enough for. Well, that was definitely one of the nail biting moments of last week's race, and that finish with Moore and Blythe was amazing. Ooh, who do we
Oh, and
have?
there's Jesse. Oh, that
Was
car. Oh,
was that
oh man,
Jesse?
that was Jesse.
I totally. Oh, yes, it was. Oh, so they had started to eke away from David. There was a decent gap that they had started to kind of pull back, and Man, that NSX just, oh. I'll tell you what, watching this season, I don't think we'll have anyone drive the NSX next season. Like, it has been a terrible advertisement for the NSX, as opposed to past seasons where we saw a lot of drivers doing well with the NSX that made other people want to go to it. I think this season has been the complete opposite. We've just seen a lot of chaos with the NSX. Alright, so we're at about the 25-minute mark. So we're only 5 minutes into the pits being open. We've still got 15 minutes of pit stops to go, so we'll continue to see things kind of shuffle as guys pit. Torres getting by Miller. I was going to say Torres was lap traffic at this point. Torres has got it down 9, just under 10 seconds instead of 10.5 behind Moda. But again, we'll just have to keep watching. Another closest battle remains. You know what? Stefan Buckley on Kinko. I think we've seen him get by him before, so something must have happened that let him Kinko back by. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a pucker going through there.
It was. He saved it, let off and saved it. Oh, and Kinko goes really wide there. This is one of those turns, too, that you get, like, extra penalized by going wide. It, like, really hurts you to be off that inside line there. You lose more ground than you'd expect from being just a little bit off that apex. And that is going to be enough to let Stefan Buckley get by. Like I said, I think he's been by on Kinko before.
Yeah, I think these two have sort of traded positions a couple times now.
I think so.
I mean, I am just talking completely out of my ass right now. I actually don't know, but...
Sorry, I wish we could pause and fact check ourselves, but...
I don't.
We don't. Yeah, we don't have that. Doherty's still on Macedo, but not much. It looks like Macedo might have started to even pull away from Doherty. Who else? Do we have anything else close? Jon Snow. Oh, he's just because he pitted early, trying to make it back up through cars. This could work not in his favor either, because, like I said, I'm wondering if he pitted early for the damage, but if it was for the undercut move because he didn't want to deal with White Cell, he might be dealing with even slower traffic and trying to get around them. So, will be interesting to see how this goes. Although makes quick work of Escobar there.
Good to see a fellow man of taste here driving the Lexus.
Yeah.
It's a pretty exclusive club, populated entirely by masochists.
I know Nick, I have not talked to Nick to see if he stayed liking the car or not, but, you know, Nick switched to it this year.
Well, I mean...
Whoa! David breaks loose.
Yikes.
This is going to let Doherty up inside, but there's not going to be able to make anything of it. And he ends up dropping back behind David.
Well, to finish my thought, I think watching this season, a swift kick in the dick would be better than driving the NSX. So
Yep.
I'm pretty sure uh, Nick's having just a wonderful time in something other than that.
Well,
Just
Darty pulls inside, but is again not able to do anything with it. Completely backs out, and David doesn't flinch at all. Keeps that position. I think Darty was hoping to scare David off of it, just showing his nose inside. But David's like, nah. Oh, goes off there. Again, it's going to give Darty a chance to go. Is Darty going to actually be able to make it, or is David going to get back around again like before? Now, this time, Darty is able to get by him.
well, now the hard part, trying to keep David behind you.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's the part that's always. I haven't raced much lately, but when David Macedo's behind you, it's a it's not the most serene of feelings.
No. David closes in a lot there. Okay, so Pedro also pitted. I see Pedro down. Ooh.
Yeah, it looks like Albert, Taylor, Buckley, Perez. I think Ken might have hit as well.
There's North. Yep. Yep, he did. And John working his way back up, now behind Driveman. Driveman's going to touch off. That's a scary thing if you're John, because you don't want to see him come back on the track to you.
Yeah, that's a
You
scary
just...
thing if you're Nick. Having driven the Lexus, I know how well that car handles off-track excursions, and let's just say it's not very well.
And Nick's going to pit, so John says, okay, thank God I can get by this Lexus without any rolling of the dice.
Yeah, the Lexus doesn't handle bumps on the track, so, bumps off the track are no bueno.
I was about to say it looks like Onkinko made it past Buckley again, but I think it's a case of Onkinko just has not pitted yet. He's running all the way up in fifth, so he just has not taken his pit stop. And we got Tillman getting by Marlowe. And we're at the 33-minute mark, so another 7 minutes and we'll have everything settled from everybody stopping and doing their pits.
All right, so that means David
So
Macedo is going to pit in exactly 6 minutes and 57 seconds.
Facts.
Nice little drag
Cerna.
race here between Cerna and Whitehall.
Yeah. And again, like don't forget, Cerna qualified third, so despite some of his issues, we know he's got fast pace here, so he could definitely be a handful for Whitesell right now. Well, we did also see that Whitesell was able to hold off John for quite a number of laps, so he's consistent, has good control of the car, doesn't seem to let the pressure get to him.
And
And
Cerna
that
just
looked like
goes too deep.
Cerna. Yeah,
Just
that's
a
what I
little
was
too
gonna
late on the
say.
brakes, just a little too deep into the corner there.
Yeah, and again, it goes to the inside.
I think at that point, if he would have tried to go to the outside, he would have slammed right into the back end of White's House. So
I think the only other thing you could have done was if maybe floor it to just blow through the apex and avoid hitting the guy, but
yeah,
um, thankfully doesn't look like it did too much to White Cell, but we'll have to see. It did let Pedro close in, which I'm sure he's not happy about that. He gets Cern off his butt, but then has Pedro replacing him in the rearview mirror.
that'd be my favorite corner on this track. That
Yeah,
complex right there. This has got to be my least favorite corner on this track.
yeah, not a fun one, and especially trying to get your car brake there and pulled around this turn because this is one of those ones that you can lose a position if you're not getting enough exit speed out of that turn.
And speaking of losing a position, looks like Marlowe got a stop go.
Oh, that is painful. So Darty looks like he came out of the pits now. And we're waiting for things to settle. It's showing Darty 7th. White Cell 9th, but it hasn't. Obviously, White Cell's in front of Darty, so that can't be right. There we go. So. Now, it will be interesting. Macedo has not pitted. We're at 36 minutes. Have to imagine he pits here, right?
I don't think any of the top guys have pit yet. Tillman, Torres, Moda.
I agree with you.
No,
Torres
Torres
might.
has.
Okay, yeah, because 23 seconds back. So
Yeah,
I
so
don't think Unkinko and Macedo and Moda have.
that might actually put Torres net first right now.
Well, what happened? Darty was behind Pedro, right? I
No,
thought.
no, I think
No. Okay.
no, Mike was in
Oh,
front.
that's right. Pedro came out, or Mike came out the pits and was behind White. Okay. Yeah. We'll go back where we were. Okay, here's. Have to imagine Moda goes to pit here after this section. He's gonna have the left, and he should be pulling over into the pits. Yes, so Moda goes to the pits. Macedo, we should see following next. He's about, yeah, showing 32 seconds behind.
Did Jesse Albert just have a bit of an incident? Because it showed him in front of Beckman, and then all of a sudden...
Yes.
Oh, the same place.
Spam.
Was that where Tillman went off,
And
or?
hits the wall on top of that. That's going to be brutal.
Oh
I
man, that
think that was
sucks.
the same place Tillman went off. He just did it a lot harder, but yeah, believe that was the exact same place.
Yikes. Yeah. Ugh. I can imagine. I can imagine the last 20 minutes of this race are gonna feel like an eternity. I just can't wait to be done with this, because that's rough.
Yeah, especially if he's going to be carrying damage here, which it did look like it carried his car pretty
Oh yeah,
fast into that wall.
his hood's doing the flippy floppy that it does. So
Ah,
yeah, he's definitely
yes.
got some damage. That is rough.
This is... So you see from behind White Cell's view, Darty and Pedro. No one really in attacking distance yet. He's got him in the rearview mirror, but I don't think he's had to feel a whole lot of pressure from Darty at this point. They look to a fairly similar pace. Check. Okay, Macedo is in the pits. 2 minutes to spare.
Oh, where's Torres?
So Torres
Coming
couldn't
down the
have pitted.
straight.
Wow. He's not pitting again. So either
I think he
he
already
must have
pit.
pitted. He must. Yeah, I was gonna say he must have pitted. He's showing 36 seconds behind Macedo. Must have pitted. Yeah, 19 seconds behind Moda. So he did pit. He had to have pitted. He was 10 seconds behind Moda at some point, so maybe he got some damage fixed too while he was in the pits. Right?
Yeah, I mean...
Oh. Look at this. Let's follow David out of the pits. So David leaves the pits and comes right into
the battle.
The battle, yeah. So White Cell, Doherty, and jumps right in front of Pedro. Those two were battling earlier, so I'm sure there's a smile on David's face pulling out the pits and being able to kind of pull in front of Pedro. And I'm sure Pedro's waving his fist. Alright, let's ride. Since we got all four of them here, we'll just ride with Pedro and keep an eye up the... Oh! That was quick. Pedro already able to get by David. Did David touch off the track there?
Yeah,
Had
he
to
did.
have, right?
He came out of that corner and just dipped 2 tires off the track.
Yeah, lost all kinds of speed.
And it looks like he wasn't he
Yep.
wasn't all that keen in getting into a break-in fight with Pedro, so he just
Smart move.
tries to get the cut back on him. The old switcheroo.
Old switcheroo. Yeah, David had a hell of a race last week where he just showed up with almost no practice and managed to finish second place. We were joking if he'd do the same thing this week. This week has not been as good to him. Not doing bad at all, running inside the top 10, but Had a
Better than
few.
I could do.
Yeah. And after all the pit shenanigans and everything settling down, John has made it back up to fourth place, so he has recovered very well from the incident he had. I think it was like lap 2 that caused him to drop back quite a bit. So he has clawed out of that. 2 seconds behind Tillman too. So he has absolute shot at a podium finish here.
Yeah, and that's the whole, where could I have been had stuff not gone the way it went. I mean,
Yeah.
you really have to try to stop that stuff from running through your head during a race. I'm in fourth, but I could have been,
Mm-hmm.
in X place. Some guys are good at that, not letting that stuff get to them.
I think it depends on how much you need the points, right? Like if you're trying
Right.
to win the championship and you need every last point, you're really battling for it. I think it's a lot tougher on you than if you're just kind of in the mix of things, you know, elsewhere. Yeah, so this has been the same for a while. Now after what happened, where is? Oh yeah, so David's still behind Pedro. Okay, he is not pulled back on Pedro, but it's been
Ooh.
yeah.
White still got a little loose there coming over that bump.
Just once again, Darty struggles to make any kind of uh, take advantage of any of it. Just not close enough or not able to make something stick.
Well, I mean, following this close behind a guy, it's a detriment. I mean, you don't have that much time to react, and
Oh, Darty
oh,
goes off
it's gonna say
and
you also have to
stays.
deal with a little less downforce. Maybe we saw a little bit of that happening there.
Let's see what happened. I don't even.
Looks like just the understeer wide.
So he's going into the first turn. Yeah. Yeah, I think he just didn't see, based on where White Cell was, the exit at, or was trying to keep his foot on the gas to hope he could just make it and didn't. But that is going to let Pedro through. And we will have to see if Pedro can start to put any pressure on White Cell. Mike was behind him for several laps and really failed to kind of get anything done on White Cell. So we'll have to see what Pedro is.
Well, if Mike can stay close enough to Pedro, we might see one of those situations where Mike gains a position if Pedro decides to go for something. I mean, Pedro
Mm-hmm.
will decide to go for something. That's just
If he gets close, he's going to go for it. He's already, I think, gained some ground on White Cell already since he got in front of Darty. So Darty might have been the one holding Pedro up here because. Yeah, we'll ride on board with Pedro.
yeah. So any move Pedro puts on White Cell is going to slow them both down, and I mean, with any luck, it'll give Mike a chance to catch up here.
another one we'll keep an eye on. I'll cut away from these guys for a bit. Um, Ken 2 seconds behind John, and John showing just over a second behind Tillman. They're getting past some lap traffic here. They're getting by Francisco, who lets them get by on that straight. So really good job on Tillman's part too, because he had lost control, went off the track, and he's still managing to be in third place with that. I forget what lap that was, but you remember what I'm talking about, where Tillman went
Oh,
off.
I mean, with the NSX, it's every lap.
Well, yeah, manages to stay in third.
Yeah,
So,
that's impressive.
yeah, David has pulled back to the group, so he is now right on the back of Darty. Darty behind Pedro, and Pedro getting ever bit closer to White Cell.
It looks like Pedro's having the same issue trying to get past White. I mean, you have to be pretty significantly faster than the guy in front of you to actually make a move.
Yeah,
And it just
it
kind of
does look
goes
like
to
they're
show
very
you.
similar. Oh,
Oh,
Darty! Pedro goes a little bit wide. Darty tries to get in, but just not able to.
and I bet you Pedro's kicking himself right about now.
I'm sure he's just happy Darty didn't get by though. I think he would have went full kick mode if Darty would have been able to capitalize on that. Yeah, and David got by Darty once earlier in the race. He had that move up the inside on Darty. So he's already had some opportunity to drive behind Darty, figure out the places he might be stronger at.
Yeah, I mean that's getting past someone's only half the battle. You then have to hold on to it, and that's like I said earlier, it's always easier to follow than it is to lead.
Mm-hmm.
So well, looks like Mike's Doherty's reeling in Pedro a little bit here. Oh, looked like he was gonna show the nose a little bit, try to go for something there. We gonna see a move into the braking zone? No.
No, I think he's just trying to mess with Pedro's head.
I mean, good luck.
Well,
I think it's a mess enough in there.
whatever happened, Whitesell pulled back away from the group. Oh, and there's Francisco. Good job letting the next group of cars by.
Well, so Pedro made that little mistake, went deep in that braking zone, and I think ever since then he's been a little bit more focused on trying to keep Mike behind than catching
Then
Zach
reel
there.
him back. Yeah.
I mean, that's just really kind of how the dynamics work here. Is eh, the switch between attack and defense is you can see it. I mean, you can based on how much time someone's losing a lap, you
One
can definitely tell when they make that switch.
148 1, 147 4, 148 4. Just trying to look at the times. Pedro, as far as best lap goes, considerably faster. Whitesell and Darty definitely more slightly close, more similar, but definitely Pedro put in the fastest lap of this group. Whitesell and then Doherty. So there's
Like John's made it in
did he's got
pretty
it?
close
Yeah,
proximity
so
there.
he is in attacking territory.
Yeah, seeing the teeth on the front of that in your rear view's got to be quite the sensation.
We can give a somewhat of a simulation of what it looks like right here.
Kind of fitting that he's driving a Spitfire themed Bentley on a British airfield track.
Is this one of the airfield tracks?
I do believe so,
Snetterton?
yes.
They excuse me. The one thing too with Tillman, it's got to be frustrating because he has the little bit of struggles with the car. John is so damn consistent, and once he starts getting up behind you, you know he's not going to make a mistake, or you don't expect him to make a mistake. So you just start to have so much pressure to have to drive perfect. This group still, Pedro's pulled back away from Doherty a little bit, kind of now somewhat in the middle of White Cell, but no one really close enough to attack. The group just seems to all have
Yeah,
very, very, very similar pace.
and you can imagine Doherty right now is pretty worried about David.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, trying to keep with both of these. This is where I wish we had the split screen, because these are the two that battle with 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and then John and Tillman. Man, Pedro.
Oh, looks like Whitesell went a little deep there.
Yeah. Pedro gained some ground, but then immediately lost it.
This is such a stressful position for Whitesell to be in.
No kidding. He's handled it.
Newcomer to
He's
the
handled
league.
it beautifully.
Yeah, newcomer to the league, still being relatively new here, and then just having this group just breathing down his neck the whole race.
Something happened to John. What happened to John? He was right on the back of.
I think he
What?
just might have run into some lap traffic at the wrong time.
No. So. Oh, he went off here. That's all it was.
Oh, okay.
It might be a combination.
Yeah, because we're coming into an area where
Because he was 6th. That looks like it dropped him back to 7th now. Or 7th. I mean, it dropped him back like a second or two now. Because he was a half second. Yeah, now he's showing 1.3. So I think it was that that touch in the grass just slowing him up. One of the rare times you see John make a mistake. Now he's definitely dealing with trying to get by Miller. I imagine Miller's going to let off here and let him by. I would be shocked if he doesn't, as close as John is. Yeah, there he goes. He lets John by. So their battle will resume. Let's go back to these guys.
like Mike's making a cheeky little peek there. Oh,
And then,
speaking of cheeky peeks, here
and this
comes
is where
David.
David, same place where he makes the move inside. He did this to Doherty last time, and has done it to him again. So I don't know if Mike being, as you said, cheeky might have cost him that drive, getting David allowed to pull up inside and hold that inside line. Now we will
Ah,
see if
I just don't think
David,
Doherty expected it.
yeah, David touches off a little bit there, but thankfully doesn't upset the car. Alright, so thanks to John thing, that puts him back 2.5 seconds, so it gives us a little, we don't have to keep worrying about trying to jump back and avoid missing something.
It also looks like
I just say that, and now Tillman's, what?
oh no.
Oh no. Is it
Same
the
spot.
same?
Same
Yeah.
exact spot.
Yep. Oh, I feel for Tillman. He was having such a great race. That breaks your heart. Like you don't. Not that you didn't want to see John have a, take third or whatever. Like I'm not saying I want either of the guys to finish in front of the other one, but I just would have rather seen that position go to an actual fight, not losing it because of the
That
car.
that was a
That's
very
brutal.
you're all my favorite children answer there.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. You
No,
just
I
want to
get
see
you.
you want to see the battle, and it breaks my heart because Tillman was having such a great race despite crap like that happening. He was still managed to be in third, but you had to figure at this point it's going to be tough to climb back to a podium this late in the race. So,
Yeah, it's rough.
but that does
It's
let
rough.
John get into third, and Ken still is just under 2 seconds behind John. So. It does let us go back and focus on these guys. Keep me making sure we're not missing anything else out here. Scott has gotten to the back of David Blythe. And David approaching Luna. So we've got a pretty close one for 16th, 15th, 16th, 17th. And we'll get back with these guys. It's almost like you could freeze frame it and go back. I mean, you swap Darty with Macedo now, but
Oh, and that
the
looks like
kind of
that was
gapping Miller, right?
Miller, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Miller not involved in as many incidents as normal, but just it looks like this track isn't treating him well. So if it's not the cars hitting him like other ones, he just gets to a track that just doesn't seem to be meshing well with.
Yeah, I think he might be regretting the choice to go with the Porsche.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a handful.
Yeah, it doesn't forgive mistakes very well. It really demands you to drive
And
pretty flawless.
it surely doesn't forget.
No, no. I mean, I think Moda has to be just pumping his fists right now because even him, the Porsches bit him in the butt several times. But this race has been smooth sailing for him.
Well, I mean, short of an alien
I mean,
abduction
look at
or like
this.
that.
He just ran his best lap. I love when I do this when I switch to people and they run their best lap and it's
Yeah.
just I go to see what time they ran and yeah. So this late in the race, Moto just put in his best lap. So he is just having a field day here. It's just running free, no one to mess with them, no one to pressure him,
Oh yeah,
and
I'm like I said, short of a town portal or a UFO alien abduction, I think he's pretty much got this on lock.
I think so. Whites out Pedro deep there again. Pedro
Ooh.
loving running deep there. I don't know what's going on to cause it. And oh,
Oh, oh,
they both collide. That's gonna let's go back through this whole section. We'll ride on board with David. So David clean inside. Yeah, I don't. Jeez.
like a mix between David trying to turn in and Pedro trying to force him a little wide. Or
Yeah, I guess Yeah. Well, that is unfortunate. Very fortunate for two other people, though, and that is Whitesell, who lets him probably pull out a little bit more of a gap. Yeah, I don't even see him at this point, so that let him eke out a lot more of a gap, and it lets Darty close in a bit on Pedro. But I think if we've seen in the past, Darty just really doesn't have anything to get by Pedro. More of if Pedro can avoid making any mistakes. And it's such a tough break for. And that let Cerna by as well, so it cost him a couple positions with that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, would like to see, the races sort of judged on, how good of a driver someone is, and
Mm-hmm.
it really kind of sucks when an incident sort of shapes the way a race goes.
So I see Taylor, we missed it, but Taylor looks like he did make it by Blythe, so Taylor into 16th. Luna's next. I think we've only got a couple of laps left. We're, let's see, yeah, second to last. Torres off a little bit, but John nowhere close to him, so he can pretty much just relax and settle into second place. John has a pretty good grasp on third, but Ken is not far. I mean, he's closed it in from 2 seconds to 1.6. I don't know if we're going to see enough time left in the race for him to be able to close in on that, but John is approaching lap traffic that could allow Ken to benefit and gain some ground while John's trying to get by them. We'll have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and this is the scary part, especially with lap traffic
Mm-hmm.
coming into this complex here.
Yeah, just looking at the both of them, Darty's still on Pedro.
Yeah, and that's going to be the
There's
end.
the checkered. You know what? Why is Cerna behind Macedo? It's showing him in front, but he's not. Did
Oh, it's probably the NSX doing NSX things.
Oh, that's exactly what it is. Goes off and looks like goes to get on the gas and it just brings the car around. So that actually let David regain one of the
No,
two
he
positions
was
he lost
off
from that
throttle that
incident.
whole time.
Wow.
That is literally the back end of that NSX will do that.
Just that much weight coming
The
around.
second it breaks traction, that thing is just it is gone.
Yeah, that is brutal. Brutal. Still finishes within the top 10. Again, qualified, was it third? Yeah, qualified third. Would have loved to be able to see him finish even
Right.
stronger, but
And it just about killed him on that
it'll
last
still
corner
he'll
again.
that'll put him 10th though at least. So, jeez, yeah.
Oh, Stefan Buckley.
Unkinko, did he just have? So Unkinko, but does he have anybody near him? A lot of last
No.
lap. So he tries to get by Miller.
Yeah, there's nobody even near him. I don't
Thankfully,
understand that move.
yeah, more all risk with not really much reward to be had. But good, it doesn't end up impacting him. So luckily there. Jesse Harris Beckman, Luno's 15th, Taylor, Blythe, Driveman, Escobar managing 19th, Miller and Marlowe. And that is our race for the tonight. Um, driver of the day thoughts, Jay.
Mm, driver of the day. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Zach Weitzel. Uh, Nerves of Steel. Just ran his race and absolutely stymied three or four of the top drivers here as to how to get past him. So that's what I'm going with right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do because we can make our own damn rules. We don't have to abide by them. I'm gonna pick two, even though we're not supposed to do that. Just because I want to highlight them for the same reason is the only reason I'm doing this, and it's the comeback kings. I'm gonna say Torres and Jon Snow both involved in incidents that dropped them way back. Managed to claw their way back to podium finishes at a track that is not easy to pass on. I mean, we saw how you know, Doherty, Pedro, and David Macedo and Whitesell all kind of sat in a group with similar pace, hard to get around each other. But Torres and Jon Snow managed to get through the group, managed to recover from those incidents and finish on the podium. So I just want to highlight both of them as my drivers of the day.
Well, hey man, that's if that's what you want to do. I'm
That's what
just,
I have to do.
that's
I
what
don't.
you have to do.
That's
I
what I
gotcha.
have to do. I couldn't pick one and then dismiss the other. That would just be. I was sitting there my whole time at the last lap trying to figure out which one I was gonna pick. And I was trying to do math, who recovered the most positions. But I was like, at the end of the day, both of them deserve it in my book. So both of
Yeah,
them are
no, I
getting it.
agree. I agree. I'll allow it this time.
All right. I didn't ask for permission. I asked for forgiveness. So
There you go. It's the
yeah.
easier one anyway.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, that wraps up our week. I'll throw up on the screen the current championship standings as they sit right now for post this race. Again, we still have a lot of races left. We still have three more races. We're going to Bathurst next. And we still have where it's only going to be seven of the eight races will count. So this is all subject to change down to the very, very end,
Well,
and not
so
necessarily a perfect reflection.
I think Torres has already missed a race.
He
So I think
has
yeah, so I think he's going to be right around where he's at.
he has
Um,
he
I think
did miss
John missed
one.
one too.
I don't know if John did. I think John's been here every week.
Oh, okay.
I remember a lot of Jon Snow this season. I can't think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think he has. But still, even with that, it's showing him. So he's John's 125 points. That's 30 points behind, 30 points ahead of Torres, which is just one first place finish. So John's had quite a few first places. So if he drops one of his weakest weeks, that would still put could still put him ahead of Miguel, or at least very close to him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how this all falls. We've never done it before like this, so we'll have to see. But as you can be behind those two, Ken, tremendous season, third place, 91 points. He's been just doing a great job, and we've always seen Ken be competitive and always kind of up there in the mix of being in the top five or so, top 10,
Hmm.
very consistently. But that's treated him well in the point standing as well. Kyle Tillman, despite the crazy NSX trying to kill him and Jesse and Cerna, Kyle in fourth place. So and Pedro also showing with 70 points. So we'll have to see how this keeps shaking out, but lots of close points battles this season.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, anything else before we sign off, Jay?
Uh, no, sir. I think we've covered it.
All right. We will see everyone at Bathurst. Say a prayer. Wish the group luck. It's gonna require everybody just on their A game driving wise here at
Yeah, it's going to
Bathurst.
be. I have a feeling Bathurst is going to be interesting. Let's just say interesting.
We've raced twice. at Bathurst. We've had two previous seasons at Bathurst, and the gang had escaped any real serious. Like there have been some incidents, but like road blocking, race just destroying incidents have been avoided. I'm hoping we can go for three, but I feel like we're asking a lot.
I mean, I'll have everything I can possibly crossed.
All right, let's do it. All right, well we'll see you all back for Bathurst, and yeah, have a good one. Thanks for joining us.